So, Arjun, how have you been?
Well, I can't complain. I've had two back-to-back releases. Technically, one came in the theater and then now is released on OTT, and the other one was a direct to OTT. So I've had a busy couple of weeks talking to the media and getting response in real time. So been good. Yeah, as good as one can be sitting at home.
Right. Congratulations, Sandeep or Pinky Farrar has really picked up on OTT since its release. The IMDb
Yes,
ratings have shot up massively overnight, in fact. Do
yes.
you feel validated that it's finally kind of getting the appreciation it deserves?
Yeah, the actor within you always wants your films to be appreciated because you do all kinds of films because you want to appeal to all kinds of audience. And this film, Sandeep or Pinky Farrar, was done keeping that in mind because this does this does play with your sensibilities. It makes you question things. It's supposed to get into your system. It's supposed to make you feel creepy under your skin and think about things for a second. It's done with that thought process, and I'm happy people have caught on to the subtext and the layers and the detailing that kind of went in through Divakar's eyes and through our efforts of performance. So the validation, perhaps we all thought it'll be one of those opportunity lost where we could have touched with people, connected with people, but because of COVID and lockdown and circumstances, it wouldn't happen. But the audience is better off today than they were many years back. So today they've been able to actually carve out this film from oblivion and give it the love and respect that perhaps it always deserved. It's just as actors, you can only do so much sometimes, and then you let go. And now it's full credit to our audience that they've latched onto it and giving it love. Like you said, the IMDb ratings are going upwards every day, and that's just a genuine sign of true love for the film.
The film came out at a time when theaters were still struggling to regain their footfall. And the box office run being cut short was, a lot to do with external factors. Do you regret the timing of its release?
No, I don't have regrets here because honestly, the trailer came out a year before and then COVID happened. Now, among so many bigger things in 2020, when the trailer came out, the world dealt with a pandemic. There's hardly any reason for you to sit and regret about, in the bigger sense of things, of film getting stuck because of it. Because let's be honest, it's not in your control. So you move on, you accept, you detach yourself, and you say, okay, the film will find its course over the next few years. Then the film did come to the theaters. Again, the pandemic was on the verge of happening again, or a second wave, as we call it. So I didn't regret the timing. I just accepted the fate of the film being such that it's going to be one of those that I'll get spoken to or called up over the course of my years. When I travel or if I do interviews for other films, it'll be a niche that and a certain bunch of people that will perhaps enjoy it over the course of it coming on OTT and stuff like that. I never gave up on the film. I accepted the fate being smaller. It's kind of exploded, which is gratifying to know that our audience, like I said, is pretty open, and the real audience. I think for me, Sandeep or Pinky Farrar just speaks to you about how there is an actual audience to watch our films versus this fake audience that was being built for a year and a fake narrative that was built about separating the industry from the audience. There was this fake wall that was built to say that the audience doesn't like the industry and there are issues and there's a negativity and there's a world and aura. And I think when a film like Sandeep or Pinky Farrar comes out of oblivion and is appreciated for the film that it is, and the work is appreciated for the work that you do, devoid of terminologies and disrespect and negativity, you realize that our audience is very, very decent. The noise and the rubbish around is just noise at the end of it, and that's very heartening to
You've talked about preparing for the role for 3 months, and you actually shot for it for a lesser period of time. I believe
yeah,
the shoot was
yeah,
completed in 45 days. So,
yeah,
what
yeah, yeah.
is what is the kind of preparation that you underwent?
So it started very simply with Dibakar asking for 3 months because he said, I want to come and meet you for at least a month at a stretch and talk to you. So I was like, okay, that sounds interesting. And then he came and started talking to me about my personal life. And then he said, okay, now we're going to talk. You become Pinky and I'll be Tyagi. And then we used to talk as Pinky and Tyagi. Then he got in our dialect coach, who's actually the boy who plays the first actor who's talking on camera, the first one shot you see. His name is Tarun. He came in to help me with the dialect. So we worked on the dialect for almost 1.5 months in Bombay, every day at my house for three hours. I used to read comic books with the dialect. I used to read English comics, Hindi comics. In the school books, I used to read the newspaper for Debakar, and it was all about, और सर क्या चल रहा है, बताओ क्या चल रहा है, अच्छा ये किया, और पिंकी क्या किया, कुछ नहीं सर, आज तो बस मैच देखा, क्रिकेट देखा, ये किया, वो किया, और क्या, कुछ नहीं सर, no, sister came home, she was upset. I used to only just keep talking to him with trying to catch the dialect, and he used to just tweak it and adjust it. So 1.5 months of just talking about your personal life and your daily routine and reading newspapers and school books. Then he took me to Delhi for 15 days, kept me in various rooms with various police officers to have a conversation about how they conduct themselves in that environment, where again I could hear the dialect, because a lot of police officers in Delhi, especially in the Mahipalpur area where we were staying, they have the slight Jat tone, and he wanted me to catch the Mahipalpur wala Jat and not the Sonipat and Panipat wala Jat. That is very different. So that started how to use a weapon, uh, what it means to be suspended. Why would you be suspended? Working on the backstory came in after that. When we were living in Delhi, every evening we used to sit and make Pinky's entire story from when he was 5 years old. His relationship with his father, with his mother. Did he play cricket? Did he like to dance? Did he like to do this? Was he academic? All the questions that I needed to be answered to create Pinky in my mind, so I can hold on to it. Um, then we brought in Pariniti because Divakar wanted us to do only 5 days of talking. He didn't want us to meet very often. And just 5 days before shooting, both of us met and we did readings. But the talking of the scenes came in much later. It was more creating the character that came first. So yeah, that took 3 months. Karte karte.
So, there's also a subtext of gender and toxic masculinity in the film.
Yeah,
And although Pinky starts off as somebody who's very rough and brash, we also, through the course of the film, see an empathy and sensitivity in him. How did the
correct.
role change you, A, as an actor, and B, as a person?
I would like to believe I'm slightly more liberal than most people, because I've grown up in an environment where I've had more women around me than men. So the empathy and compassion towards the opposite sex was always there. But in this film, I also understood why men behave the way they do in our country, because of the cultural continuous badgering that is given to a man to believe that he's supposed to be a certain way because he is a man. So you understand that. So at a human level, and I'm not saying that makes it acceptable for men to do what they do, but there is a lack of education in the correct manner of how to be as a man. अगर आप अच्छी तरह अपने मर्दानगी को समझ, being a man is not about how you how well you can make money. It is about how, for me, being a man is how you can show emotion and empathy and compassion and understanding and conduct yourself a certain way, that you treat things equally, that you treat people equally, that you're able to understand, that you're open to absorbing, that you're open to evolving. That is what being a man is. Being masculine is not about I'm the breadwinner of the family. Being masculine is maybe perhaps the opposite. It is about being okay if your wife is the breadwinner of the family. There is a masculinity in that also. But we have been told कि तुम मर्द हो, तुम जाके काम करोगे और औरत खाना पकाएगी. But it's not the same. I feel there is a bigger life out there. When you come to cities, you realize that women are doing what they're doing, and men have to also grow up and mature and be a certain way. So as a man, I understood why men in India tend to behave a certain way. They behave rather badly from time to time. But that's also conditioning, that's social conditioning. um, and there's a thought process of aisa hi hai chalta hai. That is something where I think Pinky breaks those shackles by the end, because his empathy and compassion comes out, because at a core he's a good guy, and I'm sure there are a lot of Pinkies out there. They just don't know that they're Pinky. They all want to be Satinder Daya, this rough stern police officer who's this macho man, but they feel showing emotion makes them vulnerable and feminine. But I feel on the contrary, it makes you more masculine if you can actually accept that you have emotion. So that was the human. That as an actor, I believed I could do the role, but I even surprised myself that I actually managed to carry off what I did in the climax with a certain way, because Debakar gave me that respect that he didn't doubt for a second I can pull it off. So as an actor, I learned that you can think you have limits, but then you have to believe you can surpass them. And for me, Farrar, I never had any doubt I can do most of it. I always wondered how would the last bit look. Um, you do it with honesty and earnesty, but you never know how it catches on. And I just feel somewhere I have to give credit where credit is due. Divakar saw me in a way where even I didn't myself as an actor. So you go with the director's vision. That's a big learning for me.
One of the things that I found interesting about Pinky was that he was also a Salman Khan fan, with the bracelet and the Baby Ko Bes Pasand Hai as his ringtone. What was the thought that went behind that?
I think when you look at it, mass culture is something where Salman Khan is such a big phenomenon in mass culture, and he's been for many years. I think since Maine Pyar Kiya, or even if you look at his action films that came in from Wanted to Dabangg, it's just reinstated the fact that he's always had a huge fan following. And Bhai cinema has been known to be something where there is that sense of entertainment and machoism and a certain sense that Pinky is a bracelet fan because he likes to feel like this protector. He is a police officer in his head. He would want to be like Chulbul, but he's nothing like Chulbul because he's very, very different. Um, so the thought behind that was to show in reality you have a lot of Pinkies out there who could be fans of Akshay Kumar, of a Salman Khan, of all the big stars. But they sometimes only look at the visual quality of the star. But when you look at it, there is a certain human quality that the stars possess that sometimes people don't lap up as much because they only look at the screen persona. And off screen, the human persona that all of them have is also there. But a Pinky gets stuck looking at the physicality. But eventually you realize that he has a certain compassion towards human beings also, much like the stars do. So I guess it, in a cerebral sort of way, Pinky starts off as being somebody who is a Salman Khan fan on a physical level. You can see it, but there is a side that he has empathy and emotion because cinema also teaches you that from time to time. And he must have seen enough films, and somewhere the dance, the feminine side, the acceptance, the way he treats women by the end of the film, the way he changes and adapts is also perhaps what his family couldn't educate him. Maybe watching films, and I'm not saying watching maybe only Salman Khan films or Akshay Kumar films, just watching films. Cinema also has a part to play in creating a physical perception, and it also maybe plays in your internal perception. So I quite liked how Debakar sir based it in reality. And I think he just wanted to have fun with the fact that there is the biggest mass hero in our country is Salman Khan. There's no denying that. So it's quite iconic to have that. It's quite understood. The bracelet is it's understood ki ye to bhai ka fan picture.
And as somebody who recently completed nearly a decade in the industry, how do you look back at your career? And is there anything you would have done differently?
Well, it doesn't feel like 9 years, to be honest. That's quite a long time, but it's been 9 years. And from Ishaqzadeh to Farrar, I think it seems like a nice culmination of 9 years, if you have to say it. Started with Pariniti, and the ninth year is ending with Pariniti and me together. I wouldn't change anything because these are the choices I made. And at that point, I must have been feeling something to do the films that I did. I'm a byproduct of all those choices. Some good, some not so good. I've learned a lot out of it. I'm very, very practical that way. I understand where I need to work harder, and I also accept that I've done really well for myself to be an independent person and make a career out of it. And I know I'm good at what I do. So I'm just glad that the audience accepted me when they did in Ishaqzadeh. It's very, very important. A lot of people come in here, perhaps even more talented than me, but sometimes they don't connect with the audience. I got lucky. My first film allowed me to resonate with audience sensibilities. There was something attractive for them about me. Even I don't know what it is. I till today don't. I just go into work hoping that they latch on to it. And Farrar doing well now on OTT and getting this life just proves that the audience is always willing to watch good work. You just have to keep putting yourself out there. And that's the biggest learning, that you're as good as your last film. Just keep going, and just keep working hard.
Right. You've talked about Fankind. You've talked very passionately about Fankind, which you've invested your life savings in. And, the organization has been working towards COVID relief extensively through the pandemic. What has that whole experience been like?
I think I don't like talking about it too much. It kind of takes away from it. I mentioned it because me and Anchula did an interview together. She's the right person to speak about it. God has been kind, like you said. I've done 9 years now here. I've got accepted. I've done well for myself. I'm in a position perhaps to help out my near and dear ones whenever they need to, and I try and do that. My crew, my people. I always try and look out for them because that's your job. Before you go out helping the world, you must help people who are around you, keep them happy and secure. And now perhaps me and Anshula felt we've reached a stage where she could possibly extend a helping hand beyond, along with connecting with fans, because I think those are two aspects that are important. If you are in a position of power, use the power for some amount of good to your capacity. And at the same time, don't forget what makes you powerful is the fact that you have fans. So it worked in my thought process, it worked as something in a way to give back in a very small way and connect with our fans. Not only me, but Alia, Varun, all the actors that have come forward and worked in tandem with Mankind. We've been able to generate a lot of money, but also I feel we've been able to give experiences to fans where they know the human side to us. And through that, I feel now we can actually keep doing it over and over again to be able to help people in need. So without going into details, I'm just happy that my sister thinks the way she does. I'm very, very proud of that. And I let her do the heavy lifting when it comes to Fankind. I'm somebody who's just there behind the scenes to make sure I'm supportive as a brother and as a partner in the company.
This also brings me to a situation where I feel like celebrities find themselves in a bit of a catch-22 situation, where if you announce your humanitarian efforts, then it attracts criticism, and if you don't, people think you're not doing enough. As a public figure, how do you respond to this situation?
You don't need to, why do I need to respond to everything? At the end of the day, people have a right to their opinion. Everybody has an opinion about everything. Opinions today are very easy to float because you have a computer or a keyboard in front of you. You can type what you feel. Half the times people don't even know what they're typing and they don't even mean what they say. Um, you can't get upset and react to everything. And I also don't owe anybody an explanation. If today I don't do something, I don't owe you an explanation. If I do something, I don't owe you an explanation. If I do something behind the scenes, I don't need to come out and tell you what I'm doing. And if I'm doing something and I want to tell you, that is my business. I want people to know that I'm doing something good. Each celebrity, each individual is unique, what they are experiencing, what they are feeling. You're allowed to take care of yourself before you take care of others. You're allowed to take care of everybody and not bother about yourself. It is very, very individual. Celebrities get bunched up and clubbed into this jhund of people who are supposed to come together and help the world exactly like superheroes, and then they're supposed to be accountable at all times. They have to also take care of themselves. So some people like to take a back seat. Some people like to step in the foreground because they have the capability. It's a human thing. It's not a celebrity thing. Not every human being that you know is going out there and doing everything, right? Some are, some are not in a position. And celebrities are no different. We are humans. So I don't have a take on it beyond this. I just feel there's a lot of noise that comes with the territory. You have to just do what you feel. And it is absolutely okay. And I say this to anybody watching, if they worry or wonder about perception, am I doing enough? It's okay. Please do not feel pressured. Take care of yourself, take care of people around you. And even if you're doing things, you don't have to put it out there. And if you're putting it out there, there's nothing wrong with that either. Because you're motivating and encouraging people. There is nothing wrong. There is no right or wrong in this. It is very personal and subjective. So people have to get rid of their opinions and at least respect some dignity and some privacy about these things. That everybody should be allowed to do what they feel right. Whether doing extra and flaunting it at that point, so people get influenced, or somebody saying nahi yaar main nahi bolna chahta because mujhe aisa lagta hai ki yaar it's not, I don't like to talk about it or flaunt it. Both sides are right, and we must learn to be respectful about it.
Right. Up next you have Bhoot Police, where you're working with Saif, who you've actually started your career with in a way when you worked as an assistant on Kal Ho Na Ho.
Yeah.
What can you tell me about working with him and shooting for the film?
Well, ironically, I was an assistant on a film with Saif, and then I was an assistant on a film with John. So it's both the films that I'm doing are with two actors who I was an assistant on set. Bhoot Police is really exciting here to work as a fellow actor with Saif has obviously been something I wanted to do for a while. To collaborate with him, I feel he's an exceptional artist. There's Jacqueline and Yami in the film also. It's a horror comedy. But it's more of an adventure film. Horror comedy is an easier way of explaining it without you seeing it. But it's an adventure in brotherhood. It's two people who are brothers and their journey of certain discoveries, certain ideologies, certain give and take, certain friction, certain conflict, certain camaraderie. So it's a film about brotherhood for me in its core, which is in the garb of a horror comedy. So it's a brotherhood adventure.
And what can you tell me about Eighth Villain?
I just
Returns.
started shooting for it. I just started shooting for it. I'm very, very excited. It's it's nice to be back working with a director again who has worked with me before, Mohit, and I love his films. I'm working with Tara for the first time, so I'm excited. I'm going to be facing John in the film, and I'm excited about that. So it's a nice big ensemble action entertainer. You know, the popcorn summer blockbuster. So I think for me, I've grown up watching that kind of cinema. I've grown up enjoying Mohit's films. He's such a balanced director. He understands the mainstream audience as well as today's sensibility. So I'm happy we've got good music, we've got action, we've got all the trappings of making a credible entertainer. So I'm really excited. I've just shot 7-8 days. So hopefully when things ease up in the next coming months, we would be able to go back on set. Fingers crossed.
Thank you so much for your time, Arjun. It's been lovely talking
Thank
to you.
you. Same
Thank
here.
you. Take care. Bye bye.
You too. Bye.